The DEAR agency specializes in helping you understand your coverage before you need it. We offer all lines of personal and commercial insurance, including auto, home, and life. Contact Don Deere at 210-507-2169 and visit us at 7529 North Loop 1604 in Live Oak, Texas, or farmersagent.com/DDeer.
Are you pregnant and alone? You have options. The Sanctuary of Hope offers expectant mothers ages 12 to 22 a place to live, medical care, counseling, continued education, and options to raise your baby in a loving environment or help you with adoption. We want to help provide you and your baby with a bright future. Call us or email us today and let's walk through this together. 210-499-1554 or sohcares.org. All inquiries are confidential.
You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here once again, and today we have another amazing guest on this show. Today, we're going to be talking to Sergeant Matthew Brown from SAPD. And we're going to learn all about him and what he does day to day. But also, most importantly, we're going to know more about his background and where he came from and how he got into position of being a police officer. So without further ado, I just want to welcome Mr. Matthew Brown to the show. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you making time for me, and I'm honored to be on your show. I'm excited. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to pretty much tell about my life and being on the department that I love.
And before we get into the awesome details about SAPD and what you're doing currently today, for a minute, tell the audience a little bit about yourself, man. How was life growing up, man? Tell us about you.
I come from a big family of 7, born in Chicago, Illinois, southwest side of Chicago, Racine Courts, very prominent with gangs that pretty much took over our neighborhoods. And I'm not sure if you've been there, but it's still pretty bad with gangs. I think it is still rated number 1 with gang occupants. I was actually 2 years old when we moved. 2 oldest brothers, 3 actually, were 12, 13, and the other was about 21 at that time. The 21-year-old was actually being pressured to get into the gangs, Gangster Disciples, and Vice Lords. And the 12 and 13-year-old, my mom, she wasn't having it. She was like, I cannot have my boys being put into these gangs, and I now have another baby boy. We need to get out of here. She told my dad, and they talked it over, and they just made a leap of faith. We know some family and some friends in Texas. Let's just move there. We just picked up everything. My dad didn't even have a job at that point, but he said, we're just going to leave because we've realized this is not where we want to be. And so we left and we went to Katy, Texas, where we found an apartment. My dad was able to find a job. My mom found a job at that time, and I was raised there since elementary, junior high, and high school. I went to school there. Katy ISD, I went to Maid Creek High School. There I played basketball all throughout junior high and high school. I was able to actually get a scholarship, an academic scholarship to University of Concordia in Austin. And I was also given a scholarship for the Art Institute for drawing, since I was obsessed with drawing. But I ended up actually turning both those down because I had realized I wanted to be a police officer. I'll tell you about that story, but I also want to mention the other brothers and sisters I have. I am the youngest of 7. My mom was actually probably working 1 or 2 jobs throughout our life by choice because my dad is a pastor. He's been a pastor for nondenominational for over 40 years now. And he was also, while pastoring, in our home where he would wake us up every morning to make sure we were going to church on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Straight out of our pajamas, we're sitting in service, and the neighbors would come and he'd make seats, and he'd just pastor in our home until he was actually able to get a small building where now he has a church building, and he's able to continue pastoring there. But he was working 2 to 3 jobs at that time as well, always a hardworking man. My mom was always hardworking. But he told her, he was like, hey, you don't have to work. You can stay home and take care of the kids. But she decided to work as well just to help out. And I built up a lot of hard work and a sense of duty just growing up and watching my parents, seeing what they've done for my entire family. I've grown just by watching my siblings. They were raising me, just with the age difference. So I've always felt like I wanted to give back just a little bit in regards to what I was given all my life. I feel like I was taken care of the most out of all my siblings just because I was the baby at the time. And ever since growing up, everybody has always looked out for me and taken care of me. So I've grown with this sense of like I need to really give out to the world. And it wasn't until I believe going into my freshman year of high school that I realized that I wanted to do something. I just didn't know the direction, which is what every high school student pretty much is going through. They're not sure where they want to go. They're not sure what they want to do, but they know they want to do something. And I believe most want to do something impactful. They just don't know what or where to seek that type of guidance. I was hanging out with some friends and, just being little mischief makers. And I end up coming across a situation where nothing illegal, but just running around and doing things I'm not necessarily supposed to do. I met a police officer, a very young officer, probably 29 or 30 years old at that time. And he was a black officer. And he was like, hey, let me just talk to you. He's like, what's going on, dude? What do you want to do? And we've talked before, and he's seen me several times prior to this one conversation that we had. And he's like, you've already told me that you've gotten a scholarship here, and you're not sure about those. Why do you realize now that you want to start messing up the chances that you're being given? And I was like, just because that's not what I want to do. I don't know what I want to do yet. I don't know what direction I want to take. And he started explaining to me everything it took of being a police officer, the joy that he received. He would give me the full details of pretty much everything a police officer does, what they may go through, what they see, the good and the bad. He didn't sugarcoat it, but I became very intrigued with being a police officer because I was like, man, I think I would be amazing at that. I really do. I feel like I would be great. And he was like, okay, so a couple more years, you'll be able to do a ride along. So just ride with me. And we stayed in contact throughout those years. And he would just give me guidance throughout all of high school, just making sure I wasn't getting in trouble or anything like that, and making sure my grades were high. I'm still in contact with him today, and I'll never forget where he placed me because I feel like he was a impactful part of me becoming a police officer for SAPD.
And if you're just now tuning in, you listen to I Am Refocused Radio on IamRefocusedRadio.com. You can listen to our amazing shows just like this one today, right here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. We're being broadcast, talking to Sergeant Matthew Brown. And that's a powerful story that you just shared about the officer who kind of took you underneath his wing and not just show you the ropes, but taught you things about life. And I know you had some great mentorship through your parents, especially your father being in ministry. How did these role models in your life, how did that help you stay focused on your goals?
Both my parents, especially my father, they were hard on us, and with good reason. They made sure our grades were never slipping. They made sure we were cleaning up the house. We were having to cook our own meals by the time we were 5 years old. So, but they instilled these things into us because they didn't want us going out into the world expecting handouts, expecting things to be easy. They wanted us to know what to do before we left, even going to college. We needed to know how to live on our own as adults, and they were very much disciplinarians in that sense that they didn't let anything slide. And I've carried that type of discipline now with everything that my father instilled to me. The expectations that he had in terms of just being a man, he expected me to make sure I was always financially sound and that I knew what to do in life in terms of taking care of a woman and how to treat all people. Look a man in his eyes, make sure you shake his hand firmly, make sure you're opening doors for the elderly, for women, for anybody who's walking behind you or coming out. All those things were instilled within me as a child. So I carried those things on. My mother, she would make sure my father was instilling the hard side. She was also instilling within me the empathy and sympathetic side, and making sure that I knew how to take care of myself, and that I was always communicating. I'm a rarity, is what my mom says, and that I'll communicate everything. And she says, most men will, they're not going to tell you how they feel. At the end of the day, they're going to keep that in, they're going to bottle it up. But if something bothers me, I will express it, and I'll tell you about it, and I'll make sure we sit down and we talk about it until we've come to a resolution. So I've always just been that type of person, and I still value everything that they've taught me, everything that they've instilled inside of me to this day, because I think that's the reason I am where I am right now. Just the hard work that my father has instilled is a reason I decided to just keep advancing within the department and really pushing forward and making sure I can pretty much be the best that I could, because my mind frame alone is I want to see what I'm capable of. I want to see where I can go within this department. I want to see what impact I can make. I want to see what I can do. I want to see what my true potential is. Because if I don't see that, then I'd make myself just have doubts for the rest of my life. I'll just be that type of person. I don't want to ever have any type of regret, any type of reservations in terms of my life. And
once again, you listen to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shemaya Reed, and we're talking to Sergeant Matthew Brown. And going back to high school, when that officer was pretty much your mentor, throughout high school, did you have friends that picked up on you having outside influence with the officer, kind of giving you guidance and leadership? I
did, because I actually wasn't the only one that he was trying to reach out to, but I was the one that really paid attention to everything he was saying, and he picked up on it. So I think he felt at that time, I'm not going to let go of this guy. This kid is actually in tune with me, and he wants to be better. I can see that he wants to do great things. I need to give him guidance. I have to give him guidance, because if I let him go, I don't know where he's going to end up. I think he saw that. My friends saw it as well. They just saw that I was at the point where I knew I wanted to go into law enforcement, and nothing was going to change that. I knew that all through high school. Some others, they ended up going with the scholarships to basketball, and they've continued in that direction. And I was pretty much the one who went towards law enforcement. And it's funny, because a few of them later on, once I became a police officer, they saw everything that I was doing. They saw how happy I was. They saw the pictures and me telling my stories of what I was able to do for kids and all the events we were able to set up. They saw all these pictures and all these stories and saw like how great it was just being a police officer. And they ended up just asking me all these questions about, what can they do? What direction do they need to take? And I saw myself immediately being in the position that the officer was in. But now I was in his position guiding my friends of the same age. And two of them ended up joining HPD. So they're currently HPD officers right now. I still give them a lot of mess about it, about telling them, they wasted their time and what took them so long to realize that this is where they need to be. So, but it's great to see that they're happy where they are now, and that I had some impact on that.
And we're still talking to Sergeant Matthew Brown right here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer with I Am Refocused Radio Show. And when you finished high school, what was the next step? What was the next phase for your life?
Well, after high school, I knew I wanted to at least get my associates. So I ended up going to UTSA for that first semester. But at that time, I realized my family was needing some financial assistance. So I actually decided to quit after that semester, and I ended up coming back to Houston to work full time at a Shell oil company as a logistics supervisor in charge of the warehouse that's dealing with chemicals and different products that the Shell oil company will work on. I went to school online for 2 years while I was working full-time to help out my family as well. After I completed the associate's degree, I said, okay, well, I'm going to apply for the department now. But at that time, I wasn't really sure which department. So and it's pretty weird for a 21-year-old to look up all this information. But I looked up several departments, DPD, Austin PD, San Antonio, Fort Worth, and several others, and I put them all down, and I put the pros and cons out: pension, healthcare, dental, optical, cost of living for the city I'd be living in, the crime rates, the units they have, everything. And San Antonio PD came out on top by far, just from what I was putting out. And I was like, I can't pass up on this. This is my number one choice. But just for a barrier, I had ended up applying for Austin as well. So I applied for San Antonio and Austin at the same time. And they both contacted me back at the same time for the application process. And I ended up just immediately going just for San Antonio. And I was able to get into that academy class that they had. And I just thought it was such a blessing. And I felt like I had made the right choice at that time. And to this day, I'm like just extremely happy with the choice and the direction I took, because now being in a sergeant rank with just under 10 years on, I know I made the right decision for my life. And just where I'm at right now, things truly really can't be any better.
And speaking of choice, our life is mapped out by our choices, and with the influence of all the people in your life that help point you in the right direction and give you advice based on their life experiences, what's some of the most important things that, as far as principles and how you live your life, what were some of the things that stuck with you as you started your venture being an officer?
Respect, most definitely. Respect, hard work, pride, but pride in the good sense, not the negative type of pride. Because I feel like if we have a lot of pride in whatever we do and whatever we're trying to do, we're going to put full effort into it, because at the end of the day, whatever representation that you have of yourself is because you put your full effort into it. If I'm not, then I am representing myself and my family and even friends and police officers that associate themselves with me, that I'm not truly coming at this with my full heart and effort. And that's just how I was raised by my father. He was all about hard work and family and a strong sense of duty, which has been instilled into me since I was pretty much 4 years old. So I carry those things still, and I plan to carry them for the day that I have a child, and I'm going to make sure that I bring those type of things into them that have caused me to be so successful as I am right now currently.
And you're listening to I Am Refocused Radio with host Shemaiah Reed, right here on 930 AM The Answer. We're talking to Sergeant Matthew Brown, and he's telling the audience about his life and about his time being a SAPD, being part of their family. And like we've been saying since one of the first interviews we done with Officer Green, the blue is with you. There are great officers out there, just like Sergeant Matthew Brown. So, Sergeant Matthew Brown, if you can talk to the audience, the brotherhood and sisterhood of being an officer, despite all the noise out there, what would you say to the audience as far as how important officers are to a community?
At the end of the day, I want this message to definitely go across. The media will always do their job, and they have a job to do. There's going to be information that's put out in short clips, and there's going to be certain agendas, but we can't control those type of things. What we can control is what SAPD does for the community. I believe in San Antonio we have a strong community backing. I believe our citizens want police around. They want to see us. They love to see us smiling. They love every time I come across a citizen, they're asking for a sticker for their child, or I hope you stay safe, officer. They're trying to open doors for me and making sure I'm okay. And those are things that are so important for our community. I wish every city had the same type of support that we do, but I know they don't, and it's unfortunate, but I would like this message to pass for whoever is listening. If you have doubts and you're not sure with what you're seeing or hearing about police officers and you need to speak with one, don't hesitate to just call your local department and just talk to an officer. I'm pretty sure most officers would love to talk to you and make anyone more knowledgeable about police officers, what we can and can't do for you, and whatever statistics need to be put out to better rectify the messages that are being put out. Anyone can always go to SAPDcareers.com. Website definitely puts out the right type of information in terms of what you can do to be put on a department, the type of pay and benefits you will receive. I would highly recommend anybody who is even thinking about being a police officer, wants to be a police officer, has any thoughts about it, to go to that website, sapdcareers.com. It is very easy to navigate through, and it provides all the information you need, plus numbers to recruiters to get additional information. So go that route. Our department, which we love our city, we love our people. I love people, and I love this department, and that's why I joined it, because I saw the type of officers just visiting here briefly and speaking with them and doing ride-alongs. I saw the type of people they were, and I saw the type of support they were receiving when I was just riding with them. And I was like, I definitely want to be a part of this. So I want people to know that we have their back. We're out there to protect them. And every day the officers are going from call to call, making sure we get to everybody as fast as we can and we take care of them. I don't want people to ever think of us as the enemy, because we want their safety at the end of the day, and we'll put their safety before ours every single day and every single night that we're out there.
Yeah, I'll echo what we've been saying ever since we had Officer Doug Green on the show, and that's the blue is with you. And if you can just share that with everybody out there in San Antonio, and if you don't live in San Antonio, wherever you live at, because what you just said is true. If people just get to know their officers versus rest of judgment, I think that can really change a lot. As far as what you're doing currently today, what's some of the things that, especially someone who's interested, you gave out the website just a moment ago, I'll give it again, sapdcareers.com. If someone's listening right now and they're interested in becoming an officer, what's some words of wisdom and advice that you will give to that young person?
Do not be a follower. Do not be a follower. Be a leader. Every single person can be a leader to some capacity. Lead by example. Lead by just doing good in your life. You doing good and you taking care of people, and you taking care of your family, your friends. These things are examples that people are watching. Everybody's always watching somebody, and you never know who's watching you, especially if you're in high school or college. There's somebody younger looking up to you that you may not even know about, and there's people who are your peers that are looking up to you, or their perception may change about you even if you start doing something good and they see the changes that you're making. Stay out of situations where people are bringing you down and doing negative things around you to hurt your future in any way, because these things can affect your life forever. One small mistake can change your entire life, and I don't want people to be put in those situations. I know sometimes it's hard to get away from peers who are doing things that they shouldn't do, but you have to remember that this is your life at the end of the day, and if they care about you in any way, they're going to support whatever decision you make if it means better in your life. That means you need to know what you're doing, what you're around, be aware of the decisions that you make, because they matter. They matter, and especially if this is a career that you want to go into, those decisions are extremely important because they will change your life. And this is a career that is and will be amazing all throughout your career, and it is what you make it. If you put your all and your passion and your love into people, into serving people and helping people and changing even one person, even if you can change one person, if that matters to you, then this is the career for you.
You said it perfectly, and I said it before, but I'll say it again. Your life is a blank canvas, and the actions you take is the paint. So whatever action you take is your mark on history. So for that, I want to say thank you. SAPD Sergeant Matthew Brown for being on the show on I Am Refocused Radio here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. What would you like to leave with the audience before we leave?
First and foremost, I just want to thank you again for even giving me the time. I really appreciate you allowing me to just talk about my life and talk about the department and the impact that it has had on me, and just speak on the impact my friends and family have had on me as well to lead me up to the point of where I'm at right now. I, again, just want to reiterate that anybody who's thinking about being a police officer, definitely get a hold of a recruiter. Check out the website. It definitely has an immense amount of information for you, and it could end up changing your view on what path you may want to take. A lot of people don't know that they can just speak with an officer and get information that could actually change their mind in regards to what they want to do, because there are a lot of misconceptions, and all it takes is just talking to one of us to pretty much put you on the right path, and that's what we want to do at the end of the day. We want to put you on the right path. Even if it means not being a police officer, we still care about you and your well-being and your life and your future, because we love the city and we love the people in the city. So that's what matters to us. And anybody who wants that information, definitely reach out to us. Reach out to your local substation and get a hold of an officer if you can, just to get more information.
I Am Refocused Radio here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. We host Shemaya Reed. We would like to thank Sergeant Matthew Brown and SAPD for always bringing great education and content that will really help the listener. If you're here listening to this show today and you're interested in having a career as an officer here in San Antonio, make sure you go to sapdcareers.com. That's sapdcareers.com. And like we say on every single show, keep God first, stay focused, and peace.
Hi, San Antonio. Need a barber? Visit our good friend Rico Rodriguez, the owner of Rockefeller's Barbershop in San Antonio, Texas, 1733 Babcock Road, and book your appointment today by calling 210-782-5188.